Hey guys, Jonty Hikmet here. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I want to speak all about slowing down, about stillness, and about presence and how it relates to pain relief. I know the title isn't very captivating, but it's a very important topic, so I thought I would address it in today's video. When I say slowing down, what I'm referring to is the fact that when chronic symptoms come into our life, whether it's back pain, stomach pain, pelvic pain, migraines, depression, anxiety, fatigue, any chronic disharmony in the mind or body, when that comes into our life, it will often force us to slow down. It will stop us going about our job in the way that we were before. It will stop us exercising in the way that we were before. It will stop us socializing in the way that we were before. It will force us to slow down. We have no choice. For many people, including myself, when I had chronic symptoms, I didn't like the fact that I had to slow down. I liked going out. I liked how I was operating. But if it's gone to the point that you have chronic symptoms, there's a good chance your mind needs you to slow down to reconsider things. It needs you to, I don't know what it is for you specifically, but it needs you to perhaps reconsider the way that you're going about your career. Maybe you haven't liked your job for a while, or maybe the way that you're approaching your job is you're being too perfectionistic, or you're working too late too often, or you need to change your career entirely. Same with your relationships. Not just your intimate ones, but maybe friends and family. Maybe there's a conversation you're putting off. Maybe you need to get out there more and reconsider that. You need to actually start dating again. I don't know what it is specifically, but pain will come into our life to slow us down, to stop us doing the exercise we want to do all the time, to get us to reconsider the way that we're approaching our life. And if this is the first time you've watched my videos, or the first time you've learned anything about the mind-body approach, in this approach, we teach that chronic symptoms will come into our life not only because we need to reconsider things in our life, and the mind is purposely getting us to slow down to reconsider those things, but also mainly because we're most likely bearing emotions. We most likely have been doing so for a long time, and we've conditioned the mind that every time these emotions come up for us, give us pain instead. Instead of allowing ourselves to feel this anger or this fear or this sadness or embarrassment or shame, you've conditioned the mind for many, many years probably not to allow yourself to feel those things, and your mind goes, okay, we're going to give Jonty pain instead of letting him feel these emotions. So the way out, so to speak, of chronic symptoms is learning how to acknowledge and allow how we're feeling. To reteach the mind, it's safe for me to hold space for the energy of anger in the body. It's energetic anger. Most emotions are carried in the body somewhat. We need to reteach the mind. It's safe for me to feel anxious. I don't need to push this away. I can hold space for this. And when we teach the mind that we can hold space for these emotions in the body, the mind no longer needs to give us pain. It goes, oh, Jonty's safe with anxiety. He feels safe feeling anger in the body. He's not pushing these things away anymore. Then there's no longer any need for pain. So just a little pointer. If you've watched many of my videos, of course, you understand all of this, but I just thought I'd mention that. And the way to learn how to acknowledge and allow emotional energy into the body is stillness, through something like meditation, mindfulness, journaling. And the only way to practice these things, if you haven't been practicing these things, is to slow down. Because you may be watching this saying, Jonty, I've slowed down. I have taken days off work. I don't exercise like I want to. I'm just a hermit living at home. I've had many people come to me and they just haven't for months, even years, gone out in the way that they want to anymore because of chronic symptoms. So they've slowed down, but they still have pain. It's worse than ever. They're not getting better at all. So, and this is the point I want to make about slowing down. Slowing down, even though it seemingly is more relaxing or more of a relaxed state than going out and doing things all the time, it's not entirely passive, because what I'm referring to when I speak about slowing down is learning about stillness and what that entails, learning about mindfulness meditation. If you have started to meditate, or have meditated at any point in your life, you may know that when you close the eyes, you go inside, it's not so comfortable. You feel restless, you feel full of doubt, you feel like you're doing it wrong, you feel anxious, you feel like you just want to come out of the meditation a lot. And that discomfort, that internal discomfort, is the very thing that you need to learn to sit with, you need to learn how to allow in order to teach the mind that I can actually be okay, I can feel safe feeling discomfort in the body. It's not so easy. It's not something that you learn in one day. On the contrary, it takes a while, it takes practice to learn how to be still, to learn how to sit with what we're feeling, and to feel safe with what we're feeling rather than trying to push it away all the time. Pain will purposely come into our life to slow us down because much of us, many of us, including myself even to this day, we're constantly stimulated, we're constantly distracted. If we're not at work or we're not with people, we're looking at our screens all the time. We're listening to a podcast. We're always doing something, reading a book or watching a TV show, or we're never really just by ourselves. There's such a huge war on boredom. There's no space to just be still and not be doing anything. It's always listen to music, listen to a podcast. Even though it feels like you're being productive, when I walk to work, I'm going to listen to this podcast. When I'm in the shower, I'm going to listen to music. When I'm on the train, I'm going to, catch up on emails, whatever it is. It feels like, no, I'm being productive, as productive as I can be. You're living your life, including myself, all of us, externally. It's constantly, externally focused. The moment you sit, meditate, and sit with what is, it's full of discomfort, and you go, I must be doing it wrong, or I don't like this, meditation isn't for me, you run away. Eventually, your mind and body has had enough. It said you're not connected to yourself at all. You're not making yourself available for your emotions. You're not even in tune with what we think will make you happier in your life. You're too distracted thinking you need to be a certain person in your career and with people, and you need, everything to be perfect. You're not connected to yourself at all. So we're going to give you pain to slow you down purposely, to get you to learn how to meditate, to learn how to be still, to learn how to sit with discomfort so that you can be more aligned with what you need to be doing in your life. And this isn't just a 1 week retreat or 1 month retreat. This is something, and if you're in my communities, you know this. We speak about starting to incorporate into your life. No one decided for us that the way that we should live our life from birth to death needs to be we're constantly stimulated and distracted. That's no way necessarily to live. It's any wonder anyone that comes to see me, when they finally get to nature or they finally begin to just give themselves a bit more time to meditate or journal, there's a bit of a, oh God, it's scary at first, don't get me wrong. At first, when you sit with emotions arising for you, it's very difficult because you're not used to it. You're not used to stopping. It's, it can be very uncomfortable. But when you start to be consistent and do it more often, it can become more comfortable. For some people, that takes a couple of weeks. For some people, a couple of months. For some people, a couple of years of really doing this practice. Will it start to become a bit easier for them? Because, we're speaking about potentially a lifetime of bearing emotions, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. People come to me and they're in pain and they're like, why haven't I got better after a couple of months? It's like, no, we need to just take things at the pace that your mind and body is really willing to. If chronic symptoms have come into your life, then you've most likely need time. You need time to sit in stillness. You need time to slow down. You need to reframe things so that stillness or slowing down isn't actually something bad. A lot of people come to me, they're such perfectionists and high achievers. They're like, Jonty, I'm going to see you, and I'm going to see a craniosacral person. I'm going to see an acupuncturist. I'm going to do this other program. I'm going to get on this exercise regime. They're doing so many different things at once. And a big part of what they need to learn is, no, just strip all of that back. Just learn to just take more time to be still, to be with yourself. Unbeknownst to them, they think they're going to get there quicker by doing more things, but actually, no, you need to simplify it. You need to really slow down and be patient. I know it sounds horrible if you're watching this in pain, to hear that you need to be patient, but that's why I set up a community, to help people in these moments when things feel difficult, because they will. So yes, this is the bulk of the video. Pain will come into our life to slow us down. Slowing down is not a passive practice. It's something that we learn to do. We learn to meditate as we slow down. So it's not you just sit home and watch Netflix and hope to, that the pain goes away. You learn to meditate. You learn about presence. I've spoken about it at length on social media, about presence. not being this eternal blissful state that you find yourself in with enough practice. Presence is about learning to be in the moment and learning to recognize what the moment for what it is, regardless of whether it feels comfortable or not. After you've meditated for some time, you begin to recognize that difficult moments will pass, and that's really empowering because you learn how to sit with really difficult emotions, the likes of which you usually would push away, and you notice them rise and fall. So becoming present teaches you that, oh, as difficult as this pain is and this emotion is, it's going to rise and fall. Presence also teaches you that good moments will pass. It also teaches you that this wave of relaxation and happiness is also going to come and go. And there's a bit of grief in that. So we slow down to learn to be still more often, not only in meditation, if you can, on your way to anywhere, waiting in line or going to work or on the way to a friend, or try not to take out your phone. Try to just be in the moment. Try to be present. Try to be still. Try to look at all the colors around you and just be in your life rather than rushing from each moment to the next or stimulating ourselves in each and every moment. And what you'll notice is it's very uncomfortable to not be stimulated. And that is the reality of presence. The reality of presence is it's often uncomfortable. We're often restless. We're often just trying to get to the next moment when we feel stimulated in some way. But the more you learn to be present, the more you learn to just allow yourself to be restless when you're walking down the street, or allow yourself to feel a bit of anxiety when you're waiting in line, but not reach for your phone and just stay with it. You notice it rise and fall. And that teaches the brain, that teaches the mind. Jonty feels safe with this discomfort. We don't need to give him pain. As always in these videos, I say lots of different things, and I'm always wary because I know people watch my videos and they're sitting there going, what about this thing? And I can't hear your voices, so I don't know the exact questions you have. Obviously, you can ask them afterwards. But I've done some notes, so I'm going to look over at my screen just in case I've missed anything. I wrote the paradox of slowing down. Obviously, I've mentioned this a bit, where people think that the only way to get better is to do lots of things. And I'm saying, actually, no, you've got to learn to be still more often. So, but how I'm trying to reframe it for you is that slowing down and stillness is not something passive. So even though you're not going to seemingly be doing as much, meditation and being with what is something that requires attention. It's not something that you can just do while watching Netflix, at least not as skillfully. So that's for all my perfectionists and people and high achievers out there. The paradox of slowing down is that it feels like you're going to be more restful, but actually it's going to require attention. It's going to require learning how to utilize these tools to actually teach the mind what you need to teach the mind. What else have I written down? I've written down acknowledge that it feels uncomfortable at first. You can start small with this. I'm very wary that people are watching this at different places. Maybe you haven't even slowed down yet. Maybe you're still on the go all the time and you need to slow down. Maybe you have and you're still not seeing any benefit from it. Some of the tools I'm always suggesting, like meditation and journaling, it may be very difficult for you to get to. And so I've written a note about encouraging people to start small if you need to. Starting with 2 minutes, 5 minutes a day. Consistency is the most important thing. And also going at your own pace. There's this thing where, again, we learn something and we go, okay, I've just got to meditate from now on. I'm going to do it 3 hours every single day, and then I'm going to get better. That's not also the case. We need to learn when to utilize stillness and when to get back to our life. We need to learn to operate on our own timeline with our own system. So, like I said, some people, their mind and body acclimatizes to the new way of being and they get better in a couple of weeks or months. Some people need a bit longer than that. I recently said on one of my group calls, if you're watching this and you were in the group, I said that I was in a room, it was a therapy training, and the teacher in question asked the 60-plus room how we all experienced something specifically. I can't remember what it was. How each of us experienced a certain state of being, self-energy. It was for IFS therapy. So how all of us, let's just say, experience presence. And everyone basically gave different descriptions. There was some familiarities amongst the group of 60 people, but for one person, presence meant that they felt very peaceful in their body. For another person, it wasn't anything to do with their body. It was more about a cognitive understanding that they feel present. For another person, they were like, I think I feel present when, I feel my shoulders drop. Or another person was like, I think I feel present when it was just all lots of different things. Everyone had different variations. So also, you watching this, slowing down, stillness, presence, whatever it means to you, it needn't mean the same thing for someone else. So I just want you to know that where you're at right now, your process is wonderful the way it is for you. What you need to balance and what you need to do is unique to you. The good news is you're not in the dark. It's not like it's unique to you. Good luck. Find the tools specifically to you. The same tools apply. Meditate, journal, find community. But within that, you need to figure out a bespoke version of how you're going to balance that out. How long you're going to meditate every day, how you're going to slow down, when you're going to get to exercise, when you're not, when you're going to rest, when you're going to exercise, all the different things you need to learn within that framework unique to you. So anything else I've written here? I've written a link to self-compassion. It's come up in the community recently, so I thought I should do a whole video on self-compassion, though, to be honest. Some people, they're very busy in their lives. I have a lot of people that are parents and full-time jobs, and they feel guilty slowing down. That could be you watching this. They feel like, how can I slow down? I've got so much responsibility. I can't. So, again, it's about, within this framework, doing it in a way that works for you. I've had many parents that just meditate for 5 minutes a day, and they come to the group calls on Tuesday, and they contribute whenever they can to the community, and they find themselves making progress, just, in a way that they can, in a manner in which they can. So slowing down needn't be this big, drastic song and dance where, you completely drop everything and just meditate and become a monk. It needn't be that. It shouldn't be that. So you need to do it in a version that works for you. So, here's something nice I wrote. Pain often arrives into our life when the way that we're living no longer matches who we are. So I'll say that again. Pain arrives into our life when the way that we're living no longer matches who we truly are. So that is about how stillness, about presence, learning to be with what is, will teach us who we need to be in that moment. We're all constantly changing all the time, and maybe we're still playing the same track and the same song that we were playing 20 years ago. We're still on that same grind of thinking we need everyone to like us, and thinking that we need to have a job so that people around us will respect us, whatever it is for you. Pain will come into our life to say, hey, the way that you're living isn't actually who you are anymore. So you need to shift that. Anything else? I've already spoken about normalizing differences. Not everyone's journey is the same. Another thing, just one more thing about slowing down is one element to this process. Sometimes I do these videos and people go, right, I need to slow down. This is a big part of the process. This is really important. It's something I'm suggesting, like I do with all these videos, about what the mind most likely is doing to stop us in our tracks by giving us pain. It's trying to slow us down to learn to connect to ourselves more. But it's one element of it. I don't want you to hear this and go, okay, I need to stop doing everything. No, go and, if you can, go and exercise and do the opposite of slowing down. Fasten up. For some people that come to me, they need to get back out there and date again, or they need to start to do things again. So slow. I don't want you to watch this thinking, I really just need to be at peace now. I mean, when we first start this process, we're learning a lot, and maybe that requires a lot of energy, so slowing down is necessary. But again, a lot of people come to me and it's like, no, you've actually got to get out there more. You've got to find community, and you've got to find your people and get back to your hobbies, get back to things. You've been at home too much. So one more thing. I'm not saying this is the only thing that you need to do, but a lot of insights come from slowing down and learning to be still and learning to be present. I've said a lot of different things in this video, as I always do. I'm often quite worried that I ramble. So, there's my perfectionistic part. And then by the end of these videos, I always think, did I leave anything out? What more can I say in the video? But please leave questions. Please share below on the YouTube video or in the community. Because then we can create a discussion. I can answer some of your questions. At any point, I always say in the video, if you were like, what about this? or there was a question, or something that you really liked, also please celebrate it below. And then I can create more videos like this, and we can get you out of chronic symptoms, which no one needs to be in anymore. So, final point, pain will come into our life, often to get us to slow down. Slowing down is not a passive tool, something we do passively. It's something that requires attention through stillness, through presence. Presence isn't something that's this eternal blissful state. It's something that often can feel quite uncomfortable. It's something where we recognize that good moments will be here, but they'll pass. The more you can be present throughout your life, the better. Try your best again, not to distract yourself in those in-between moments in life. Try to just be, in this moment, not to rush through your life so much. Learn to be with the discomfort of every moment. And if you can teach the mind to be with the discomfort of the present moment, no longer leads to give you pain. That's it. That's the video. Oh yeah, the last thing I said about, slowing down is one part of the puzzle, but it could mean also unique to you that you also need to be getting to things more often. So, all right, I'll stop now. That's why I created the community, so you can come in and we can work out that balance for you. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, anything you'd like to share, please share below. Subscribe to the channel. Looking forward to hearing from you soon.